Our spiritual state and our mental state are hugely comprised of the words that we hear from ourselves and from the other people around us, the outside world, the media, to the point where we hear so many voices in our head and we're not even sure sometimes which voices are true, like which voices are speaking facts and which voices are just babbling on with gibberish. So it's really our job, it's our responsibility to make sure the voices in our head are speaking life into us. And to do that, we need more awareness. Hey y'all, welcome back to Holistic Flow. I am your girl, Lolo, and today's video is titled How to Truly Heal, or How to Fully Heal, or something along those lines, because I'm going to be spilling some beans about why a lot of the times we're not healing from things, and some things you can do to progress along your healing process or your healing journey when you feel like you've been stagnant. One thing is for sure, healing is certainly easier said than done. A lot of us may not even know what healing is, like what is truly healing. And I will say that throughout our entire life, we are always healing from something. Sometimes we never truly heal, but we like to think that we are always progressing, and instead of perfecting, work on being aware of our progression that we've already come through. Instead of trying to perfect our journey, we simply bring more awareness to the progression that we've already made thus far. So if you want to know how to truly heal or fully heal, then keep on watching the video. Before I get into it, however, if you are new here to my channel, hello. Here on Holistic Flow, we are creating a safe space for self-love, self-growth, and maturity, and we're taking a journey towards an overall better mind, body, and spirit connection. So if you're with that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notifications so you know whenever I upload a new video. If you have done that, thank you so much. And let's get into this video. So when I was younger, maybe in elementary school, early middle school, I used to ride my bike around the neighborhood with the other kids in the neighborhood, and there is a hill leading up to my house, and most of the time I would be riding my bike down a hill, right? I would ride my bike everywhere, down my driveway, down the neighborhood, which is like a huge hill, and there's a hill in the backyard which I used to ride my bike. So all in all, there was a lot of times where I would scrape my knees because I would fall off my bike. The first thing that my mom would do when I got a cut or when I scraped up my knees is she would pour peroxide over the wound. And that was to first cleanse the wound, because now you have exposed skin. And after that, the healing process can start. Your skin naturally heals itself. The body naturally heals itself. And there's proof of that by the natural healing process. Your skin starts to have a scab over top of it, which a lot of times, I can't lie to you, I used to pick my scabs when I was younger. A lot of people probably did, but your skin starts to heal itself by first forming blood clots, and then forming a scab, and then you want to expose your wound to the natural elements so that your skin can literally grow itself back over that wound. And then during that process, you might want to use some ointments, some lotions, some A&D, Neosporin, or what have you. There are a couple steps in that process of the skin healing itself. And as far as healing emotionally or spiritually, we are a lot like our body. Well, first of all, our body can heal itself naturally. And a lot of the times we forget that, and we try to force a healing process instead of allow the healing process to come in its own time, because we as humans have this own agenda of when we want things to happen, and we have this picture of how exactly they're going to happen. And that's not always the environment that our emotions or our state of mind or state of consciousness needs to be in order to heal. And the truth is, there's no set in stone formula of what you exactly need to do in order to heal yourself. Everyone has a different process that they need to go through. It's tailored to your own specific experience, which is why it's so unique. One of the first steps of the healing process is to get to know yourself, get to be familiar with the ways in which you operate. Really talk to yourself. Watch the ways in which you communicate with yourself. A lot of us aren't watching our self-talk. The reason why this is so important is because our self-talk and our voice in our head has to be louder than all of the other voices that we hear on a day-to-day basis. Our spiritual state and our mental state are hugely comprised of the words that we hear from ourselves and from the other people around us, the outside world, the media, to the point where we hear so many voices in our head and we're not even sure sometimes which voices are true, like which voices are speaking facts and which voices are just babbling on with gibberish. So it's really our job, it's our responsibility to make sure the voices in our head are speaking life into us. And to do that, we need more awareness. To have more awareness, we really need to get to know ourselves, get to know what we like, our interests, our ways of thinking, our habits. And in order to do that, we just have to spend time with ourselves. If we're not spending time with ourselves, talking to ourselves, spending time in silence, listening to our own thoughts, we won't have enough self-awareness to begin this healing journey. Make sure the voice that you want to be in your head is the loudest voice in there. And that voice has to be speaking positively to yourself, or else this healing process is going to take a lot more longer than you would have expected it to. Another aspect of the healing process is whatever we're doing currently to input positivity into our lives, it needs to be done consistently. So working on yourself from the inside out, whatever method you're using to get to know yourself, whether it be spending more time with yourself in silence, meditating, reading a book, praying. It's not like we do those things once, twice, 3 times, and then we're healed. Abracadabra. No, it's more so like you make that a ritual, make that a habit. Say those affirmations every single morning. Do that meditation every single evening. Read some pages of that book every single day. This isn't something that only requires you to do one time. It's almost as if you're studying for a test, studying for the test that we call life. Every single time you study for a test, you most likely, not unless you're a genius, most likely you didn't study just one time. You didn't just look at the text one time and then you memorize all the information. No, you really have to get familiar with the information in the textbook or your notes. You have to go over your notes a lot of times, and you even have to self-quiz. You even have to maybe have a accountability partner or study partner, because it needs to be followed up with consistency in order for that repetition to get in there. Practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes permanent. And practicing your spiritual tools consistently is what helps bring about this process of healing ourselves. Because what has to happen is a change in mindset, a shift in our energy, which overall will create a shift in our life. The most important aspect of the healing process, in my opinion, is surrender. So in our minds, we all have a timeline or a visual of what our life is supposed to look like when we get over something. When we become emotionally stable, our life will look like this. When we become mentally stable, our life will look like this. When we heal from this trauma or whatever this person did to us, or the emotional damage that this event caused, our life will look like this. And then we have a timeline for that healing process. By this time, I will have healed from this. And while that is helpful in terms of manifestation, it's often unfair to ourselves to impose our own understanding and logic over something that we can't fully understand because we haven't even dived deep enough into ourselves to know about everything that our healing process involves. We need outside help from our creator to help ourselves heal. We can't heal on our own. And the reason why is because we weren't created on our own. Like, we didn't create ourselves. When we look back to when we were children, there's a sense of purity that comes with a child's heart. And children have many aspects of themselves that we often lose when we come into later childhood or even later adulthood. Children can trust themselves and they can build trust in others easily, especially their caregivers. They have a great wild imagination. Children are joyful for almost no reason. And if you watch them, they're very in tune with themselves and with their interests. These childlike qualities are some of the main things that make us whole. And as we go throughout life, it's not that we lose these qualities, it's more so that they're covered up by all the other things that life throws at us. And in order to uncover these things again, there needs to be some surrender to all the things we don't understand. See, we have our own idea of what our healing process is supposed to look like, and we may not exactly know how to heal. So we just end up taking a shot in the dark, per se. We just end up doing this or doing that, trying this thing, trying that thing. But really, we need some guidance and we need outside help. We need divine help and divine wisdom and guidance, because with our own logic and with our own human ego thinking in mind, we don't know what we're doing until we get back to that childlike state. When we're in our childlike form is when we know ourselves the best. And the reason why we need to surrender to everything that we can't control or everything that we don't know is because we are so resistant towards change that it keeps us from growing. Like, we are literally in the way of ourselves. And sometimes we're blind to it because of a lack of self-awareness, because of a lack of knowing ourselves, and because of a lack of being able to get to this childlike state. We're so resistant because we may see qualities in ourselves that we don't like because of the trauma that we've went through, the pain that we've went through, the pain possibly that we've caused others, the shame that we're feeling. Our emotions get caught up in it, and emotions are blinding. We literally become blind to exactly what we need to do to progress and move forward. And sometimes that exact thing is to get out of our own way. And we can only do that by surrendering to divine wisdom and power, to our creator, to our source. Healing is a lot easier said than done, but once we stop trying to force a healing process and simply surrender to the process that is already underway, it will become a lot more easy. Think about the amount of emotions and thoughts that we suppress each and every day. We're constantly moving and going, and a lot of the times we have emotions that come up and we can't deal with them right then and there because there's so much that's going on in our life right now. So what happens is that we suppress emotions, we suppress thoughts, which means that we push them to the back of our mind. We say, I can't deal with this thought right now. It's not important to deal with it because I have other things going on. So I'm just going to push it back, put it in the archives, so to speak. And that very action creates resistance against freeing our mind, freeing our mental space, and freeing our physical and spiritual space. And sometimes we don't even realize that we suppressed emotion or suppressed thought because of this lack of, again, of self-awareness, this lack of a childlike way of thinking. We forget that we have to release those emotions one way or another, because all the emotions and thoughts that we suppress, they don't just go away once we push them to the back of our mind. They always come up. Everything that has ever been suppressed, everything that has ever been repressed or forced away, it will always come back up, kind of like a boomerang. And so because we have suppressed them, we become resistant to releasing them because we often become afraid of our own emotions, afraid of our own thoughts. That's why so many of us are resistant to sitting in silence, resistant to spending that quality time with ourselves to get to know ourselves. But what we really need to do in order to heal is simply surrender. Everything has already been mapped out for us. Everything is there in the spiritual realm, just waiting to be manifested. Our healing is out there in the spiritual realm, waiting for us to call it out, waiting for us to bring it out of the spiritual space into the physical space, waiting for us to claim it, because it is ours to claim. All the possibilities in your life are simply waiting for you to manifest them. We ultimately are the creators of all of the outcomes in our life, whether we're aware of it or not. But in order to heal, we simply have to get out of our own way. We simply have to surrender. Raise your awareness of the parts of your life where you feel resistance right now. You may feel resistance around the people that you're hanging around, your social group. You may feel like something's off. Just start becoming more aware. Start becoming more aware of how you're feeling around the people that you're around. That is how you know where you need to surrender. You might feel some resistance or some tension in your home life or your home surroundings. If you feel resistance there, that's where you need to surrender. You might start feeling resistant to the media that you're watching. Social media is a huge blocker of mental thought and progression. If you feel resistance in that area, that may be the area that you need to surrender from. So it's simply all about raising our awareness of our surroundings and really calling out what's hindering our growth, because we know it. We know it in the back of our mind. It's there. But we simply have to stop being afraid of change, because our healing is waiting for us to manifest it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope that it was helpful for you. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I hope to see you in my next one. But until then, I'm sending peace your way, love your way, and joy to you, your family, and your friends. All right, y'all. Peace.